Finally, the truth's coming out. Finally, the truth's coming out about the war, the proxy war. It's always been a proxy war. About America trying to destabilise Russia. It's all it's ever been. Fought in Ukraine.
So this is from Joe Rogan Podcast News, a commentary account. It says the headline is Joe Rogan goes silent as guest dives deep on who Zelensky really is. Let's watch. Listen, this is quite interesting. Let me speed it up a little bit so we don't have to sit through the whole thing. But this is kind of fascinating. I've watched this already. Let's watch.
I keep asking if I have time. Do I have time to tell the Zelensky story? Sure. Because it's another one. It's just, what is Zelensky in America? He's a hero. He's a real warrior. He's got that nice green, warrior suit on. And here's the truth. And people know parts of this story, but they don't know it in its cleanest narrative. So he was a totally apolitical. He was an outsider to politics, zero experience or interest in government or politics. He was a comedian, and with no manifesto, no party ties. And he does a TV show, a planned TV show called Servant of the People. And the main character in the show does a YouTube video that calls out oligarchs and corruption and eventually becomes popular and is drafted as a protest candidate and eventually becomes president. So Zelensky played on a TV show a person who becomes president by popular demand. In real life, the TV show is supported by an oligarch named Kolomoisky, who owned the TV channel. And Kolomoisky did a huge nonstop promo on that TV show to make it the #1 show. Primetime slots and ads everywhere and crossovers with the news and what have you. 2018, a year before the show goes off the air, Zelensky forms a political party called Servant of the People. The same title as the show. And in no press release, secretly done, and then he does another season of the show, and in April of 2019, he announces his actual candidacy on Instagram. He has no campaign, no rallies, no real platform. He skips the presidential debates others attended. He avoids press conferences, and the few that he did in the beginning were really bad. And Kolomoisky's TV channel gave Zelensky's campaign endless airtime and favorable polls and went after his enemies. The U.S. intelligence agencies, CIA and NSA, helped the U.S. spending $5 billion, by the way, on democracy campaigns.
So, we're only a couple minutes into this, or 2 minutes into this, and what does it sound? This guy's name is Gavin de Becker, by the way. And what does this sound like to you? To me, it sounds like this was all planned way ahead of time. That the people who actually run things had this in the works way before you ever knew about it. Way before they had this guy handpicked. And who did it? The billionaires who run everything. They had him handpicked. The billionaires who the CIA actually works for. They don't work for the president. We've already revealed that, as Chuck Schumer said, that they don't work for the president. The president has to be afraid of the CIA and the NSA. And so they had this all set up. They had their puppet. They had Zelensky. They had this all set up. There's more to this. Let's listen.
In Ukraine, funneled through NGOs. And USAID embeds advisors in his organization to help with the campaign. I'm almost done. And on election day, Zelensky wins with 73% of the vote. And then the war happens with Russia, and he declares martial law, and he ends elections. There's supposed to be an election in 2024. That's what we get for our democracy money. And quite literally, he is an actor in a carefully designed television show. He is a construct, like Epstein is a construct, meaning he's a created entity. And it worked. That is Zelensky, American hero. I guess his star is maybe fading a little bit now. I don't know, what do you think? Is he still wildly popular in America?
Well, I think people are very disappointed by the fact that the wars continue to go on and the amount of deaths. I mean, people are horrified by it. And that's a big failure of the promises of the Trump administration too, because Trump famously said that he would get it done in 24 hours.
Yeah.
You can't get it done at all.
Yeah, it's tough.
And they're conscripting 60-year-old men, sending them to the front line. I mean,
and Americans and people from all over the world to go and fight. And but the narrative, I think, your very first question was, do people do this on purpose? Things like this, like wars that are multi-billion-dollar events, they are not organic. They do not just happen. Putin does not just decide one day, hey, I got an idea, and to go into a part of Ukraine where they're Russian speakers, they're culturally Russian, and they are not organic events. It's not how people get into power in many countries around the world.
Well, the crazy thing is the narrative that the soldiers in Russia were being told, that this was going to be over very quickly, they're going to be welcomed, and then, they had dress uniforms in their packs.
Yeah.
They thought it was going to be a couple of days. Storm in, storm out, you're a hero.
Yeah, we were told that in Iraq.
Well, it was going to be, because Zelensky immediately realized what was happening, and he negotiated a peace deal almost immediately. A couple of weeks after Russia invaded the Donbass, Zelensky had his team work out. They had an agreement already worked out, a peace deal. And you remember that's when Boris Johnson from the UK flew to there and said, hey, if you do this peace deal.
To become a participant and automatically earn passive income, do not click on any fraudulent links. The link below this video is the official one. And by using it, you can absolutely...
We're going to kill you. And so he didn't do the peace deal, and now we're 4 years into a war. They had a peace deal, and we showed you that video of Zelensky saying, yeah, the people in the West want a long war with Russia because the war is about hurting Russia economically, and they don't care what happens to Ukraine, that we're just a pawn. He said this a few weeks after the war started. He said this. So Zelensky knows the game. You know who doesn't know the game? The American people and the morons with the Ukraine flags in their bios, in their profile pics. Those are the morons who fought for every war. Vietnam, Grenada, Iraq twice, Libya, Afghanistan for 20 years, Syria, Iran, now Ukraine. And they'll fall for Venezuela. Okay.
We will be, welcomed in Iraq as soon as we get to Baghdad.
So what do you think the Ukraine thing is really all about?
Well, why limit it to Ukraine? Just talk about human war. I mean, what is human war always about? It's about primacy and control and wealth. And 1,000 years ago, there's about 1,000 what you would call government systems, right? There's warlords and there's shoguns in Japan and there's all these little entities. In our lifetime, it's down to 190. But is it really 190? It's more like 5. Right, NATO and China and the Soviet bloc when it existed and the oil-producing countries. In other words, it's getting to be whatever number you want to make it, but eventually it'll be 2 fuckers sitting in a room and then they got to kill each other.
Right.
And then, that is the decay of empire. And we are, we have 760 military bases overseas.
Yeah, we have more than that. And we're building a new one in Syria right now in Damascus. So I don't know where he got that 760 number from. But a lot of them are a secret, so that's why you don't know. I think they just built 3 in the last couple of years in the Philippines. They just announced they're building a new one in Damascus, in Syria. And they're all working together with Israel. Who is Al-Qaeda and ISIS and the United States are working with the head choppers who attacked us on 9/11, and they're working with Israel. They're all working together. Who's the chump now? We are the chump once again. The United States people are the chumps. And the people who believe that story about Zelensky being a fighter, he's a pawn, he's a puppet in a $1 trillion war. He's a puppet who was installed by the billionaire class that runs the CIA to do exactly what he's doing. Most people don't know that story. That's an amazing. It sounds like a movie because it is. That's amazing. All right. Come see me tell jokes about this in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, December 6th. That's a Saturday. How about Waikiki in Hawaii? That's
Yeah, my mouthful is hot. Got it, babe. Trust the plan, they said. The Whiteheads have got this, they said. Come on. Grow up. You getting the picture now? So who's coming to save you? Oh, that's right. Nobody. If you don't stand up, you'll be on your knees forever. You'll be condemning your kids to live on their knees forever. That's America, they say. Well, wasn't America supposed to be coming to save us? Margo? Wasn't they? Bosie? Guru? Leibold? Come on, John? Come on, John. Even admits he's a communist. Come on, grow up. Grow up. If you don't pick up your authority and wield it, it will be fucking smashed over your own head.